Welcome back to Awakening to Your Story's Weekly Love. I'm heart expert and the author of the book Awakening to Your Story, Alicia Hartzell. Welcome back. I am so glad that I get to be with you in your inbox this week. And if you're not getting me in your inbox and you're watching this on Facebook or some other version of social media, hop on over to awakeningtoyourstory.com and subscribe so that I can meet you in your inbox every week. Now, let's get down and dirty about volume. I got a question recently about volume and how it works, and I want to start by reading it. It's from a person who's been watching the videos and kind of following along with all of the different philosophies and principles of awakening to your story. I've heard you talk about bad things happening in your life as volume. I'm not sure I believe that bad things happen because of us, but more because of an outside source. It seems terrible to think that I can get into a car accident because of something that I did or something that's within me, and not because a loser hit me and he was just being a loser. I really like most of the stuff that you talk about, but I'm having a hard time with this one. Can you explain? I would love to explain. Volume is something that is a great tool, and usually I like to give you 3 heart actionables a week, and this week is no different. The first heart actionable is an idea. I want you to know that law of attraction is working for you 24/7, right? So this is your first heart actionable. Law of attraction is working for you 24/7. Now, law of attraction has been explained hundreds of different ways by hundreds of different people with hundreds of different twists and turns and kind of expressions through them. And this is interesting because law of attraction, it's law, but each person has their different caveat of how they explain it. I had an event that I went to for Oprah Winfrey, and she did a beautiful job of explaining law of attraction in a very visceral, tangible way. She used Newton's cradle, which is the pendulum, right, that swings. It has many different balls on the outside. And her whole idea was every thought that you think sets into motion this beautiful course that is going to go out into the universe and come back to you. And she did it on this great big screen with a whole bunch of music, and it was very powerful and inspirational. And she's like, here you go. You set into motion a thought, and she lets it go. And you watch it ripple through all of the different balls, and it comes back to you. And as it smacks those balls back, you have this really visceral sense of, wow, that there it is. What you put into motion comes right back to you. And it was a beautiful expression. Now, the way that I like to explain it when we're doing work with Awakening to Your Story is that like attracts like. Law of attraction. What is within your heart, what is within your story, is what allows the things to come into your space. Now, law of attraction doesn't really care if those are positive or negatives. It doesn't care if it's conscious or unconscious. What your being holds is what can come into your space and meet you. Right? So the first heart actionable is to know that law of attraction is working for you 24/7. Now, it's an interesting way to think about things, but it's important to note that when you have law of attraction working for you and you utilize it, when you actually take it and create ownership for it, it will actually point you in the direction of where you need to do the work. It's a tool that you can actually utilize to create movement forward in your story. Now, this kind of leads us up to heart action rule number 2. Know that life is happening for you, not to you. It's an amazing thing to think that life is actually happening for you, not to you. That guy that was hitting you, that hit you in the car accident, the loser, that instance happened for you, not to you, right? It was there to create movement and ownership within your space. It was there to help you utilize what was in front of you or what was limiting you in your story, right? So as we kind of start to explain this idea, it's important to remember what the heart does and how the heart works. So I want you to think back. If you can't think back within your own life, think of the little people in your life, like the children, the youth that you have around you. When you are young and you come into this world, you are completely connected to your higher self. You're completely connected to the divine, to the universe, whatever your belief system is, you're connected to that. And as you learn and grow and process and experience life, you get passed down untruths, right? Whether it's because other people are surviving or other people have adopted these limiting beliefs that they then hand down to you, you start to adopt things that actually keep you separated from your essential truth, separated from the freedom of heart that you have as your birthright. So as your heart is experiencing all these things, law of attraction starts to work in your favor, right? Life happens for you, not to you. Law of attraction works with your heart and calls in all the things that are in your heart space, right? And if you feel like it's something that's negative, something that doesn't feel right or is out of place, like a car accident, it's there to help you remove the limiting beliefs, right? Law of attraction. If it's not within your space, it can't come in. So if that car accident was there, it was there to actually help you shift out a limiting belief. And I'll get to an example a little bit down the road about how that actually tangibly works. But for right now, I want you to understand that volume starts out in a small way, right? Arguments with friends, argument in the grocery store, road rage, little bubbles of discomfort that leave you feeling like you're reacting to things. This is when your volume is low, when law of attraction is calling in these little markers to say, you need to do some work here. There's some fine tuning that needs to happen. And when we don't pay attention, our heart draws in, right? Law of attraction, what is within our space is what is here. It calls in things that are bigger so that you pay attention where to do the work, right? And this is where we get into physical ailments, right? Where you break an arm or bust a finger, or you get into a car accident, or your house floods, or your roof, leaks, or things that create volume where you can't help but pay attention. That's where that volume gets cranked up. And it's because maybe you're creating ownership for more of the pain, more of the challenge, more of the struggle, more of the limiting belief than you are for the essential truth. Maybe the essential truth has been so masked down that you can't even quite reach it, right? So as the volume rises, it's your indicator, because remember, know that life happens for you, not to you. Your volume is rising for you so that you can find the place to create the healing, and you can create ownership for that space, right? And that leads us into the Heart Actionable 3, which is the universe is conspiring in your favor. I love that. The universe is conspiring in your favor. It's amazing. It's a miracle. It's beyond wonderful, and it's something that I hold on to all the time. When I'm kind of in a tangled mess, I'm like, you know what? This tangle is here to serve my higher good. The universe has my back, whether that is the divine, the universe, the Holy Spirit, whatever your personal belief system is. That energy of the wholeness, right? That is conspiring in your favor. So I want you to think about this for a minute, and I want you to understand that as law of attraction works with your essential truth and your limiting beliefs, it's really important not to cast blame or fault when we have something like a car accident happen, or a flood, or which both of those things have happened to me. When you have volume that is jacked up and is causing you to react, it's really human to want to react and cause blame, to shift blame and fault out into the world. And while it may give you a small feeling of relief momentarily, it's not sustainable and it doesn't last, and it feeds into that chasm of separation and doesn't actually create healing or movement forward for you. Remember, you cannot change the elements of anyone else's story but yours. So whether or not you want to cast blame or fault on yourself, or you want to cast blame or fault on someone else, the loser that hit you, you can't change their story. Law of attraction brought that circumstance into you because something was there in your space. And if you want to utilize it so the volume can go down and you can create more freedom and power in your story, then your job is to get curious and to dig in, right? And sometimes that's easier said than done, which is why I want to give you an example. Now, when I was in my early 20s, I had 4 car accidents happen to me back to back within a matter of a couple months. And it was humorous, to say the least. It got to a point where it was humorous. And the 4th and final car accident, there was a small little lady who literally was hooked up to oxygen driving, and she rear-ended me, and she was like, "I just didn't see you." And I wanted to pull out my hair, right? Most of these car accidents weren't my fault, but I was in them nonetheless. And I started to think, I've got to figure out what this is about, because this can't just be happening to me. And this was in the infancy of my seeker period, where I was trying to really figure out how the world worked for me, what my expression of that would be. And as I started to kind of dig through and process and understand how it worked, it was so fascinating, because the undercurrent, right? So when you have volume, you have to figure out what the undercurrent of the circumstance is. And for me, the little old lady saying it out loud resonated on every level of me. I'm not seen. Like, she didn't see me. I'm not seen. Nobody sees me. Like, this is ridiculous. And it was like that for all the other accidents too. And as I started to look at that, right, that statement, I owned that statement. Nobody sees me. I'm not worthy of being seen. I can't be seen. I'm not seen. And let me explain to you how I adopted that as a fundamental belief, right? It wasn't my truth, but it was a belief that I held onto and I owned. For some of you, my story. By the time that I was 20, I had 7 parents walk through the doors of my heart, and I was one of 4 children. And if you include stepkids along the way from all the different parents that I had, I could have been one of 6 children in any given moment. And I was raised by parents who were also surviving, any mix of them at any given time. They were surviving their own things. Now, not to say that there wasn't love there was an amazing amount of love, but there was a lot of survival too. And I had adopted this idea that I'm not seen. Whether it's because there's too many other things going on or whatever the circumstance was, I created that as ownership. And it was completely misaligned with my essential truth. And it was causing me problems. And so as I started to look at that and then create healing within myself, right? This idea of returning back to, I am seen, I'm valuable. And my part at the table of humanity is something that's important. And I have enough value in myself to sit at the table and to be seen and to be heard. And as I started to shift and create ownership for that, the volume started to go down. And it allowed me to come home, to return to my truth, leaving aside this belief that I don't need to be seen. I can't be seen, right? And it served me well. I'm here. I feel worthy enough to sit here and to teach and love you and to show you and tell you the things that I know. And had I not taken care of that, had I not listened to the volume and worked my way through that and creating healing within that part of me, I wouldn't be able to step completely into my purpose, right? Life does not happen to you, it happens for you. And volume is designed to help you succeed. It's designed to help you stay on track and create healing and come back to that place within yourself that is fully embodying your essential truth. So I want to go over the actionables again one more time, right? So know the law of attraction is working 24/7, right? Life happens for you, never to you, right? Know that the universe is conspiring in your favor. And as a bonus, I want you to know that you were designed to succeed. This is your birthright. Your lineage and your legacy is love. Love and your essential truth. So as you step in and as you create volume in your life, utilize it. Make it work in your favor. All those pesky things, all those circumstances and situations that are out there making you want to pull your hair out, they're there to help you. So hunker in, get curious, and know that no matter what happens, you're miraculous. So I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, I love getting them. Email me at email me at alicia@awakeningtoyourstory.com or leave a comment in any of my social media platforms. I cannot wait to see you again next week in your inbox. So until the next episode of Awakening to Your Story TV, know that you are loved unconditionally for all that you are. For more support, information, and inspiration, join me at awakeningtoyourstory.com.